Hey everybody! All right, so our objective today in math is to recognize and then draw lines and curves. And we touched on this on Friday, right? And I want to just come back to it today with a little more advanced practice before we move on to the next topic, which kind of takes a step up in rigor. So let's see what we have here. So we have Nick with a pencil and a ruler, and he's drawing some lines, right? He's drawing lines that are side to side. We call those horizontal lines. We are drawing lines that are up and down, or vertical lines. Here we have some diagonal lines that are going down the slide or up the hill, right? All of these are to be considered lines, okay? Technically, if you talk about a fourth grade teacher, they would tell you that a line continues in both directions forever, right? So most of the time in math, we don't deal with full lines, and instead they will put a dot at either end of the line, and they'll talk about a part of a line or a segment of a line. So that's kind of what you're reading right here, where it says, this is a part of a line. Mr. W, for the most part, is going to say these are just lines. Just forgive me, fourth grade teachers. All right, now Nick puts away his ruler, and he's no longer drawing straight. He's drawing these things. Now he's starting in one spot, and he bows or bends up and then comes back. This is not a line. Here he is starting in a spot, and he's bending out to the right, or down toward the floor, or over to the left. These are not called lines. These are called curves. So lines and curves. And we're going to be looking for them as we draw and as we examine pictures. Here we have a picture. So if it was me, I would use two different colors, and I would try to stay organized, because pictures like this are relatively simple, but you could imagine, hint, hint, the one on our exit ticket today is a little more complex. So if I find a line, I'm going to put an L on it. I found two lines. Straight line on the right and a straight line on the left. I found 1, 2, 3 curves on the top, and 1, 2, 3 curves on the bottom. So my suggestion to you is that when you're asked to do exactly this, which you will be in a minute, you should stay organized. Oh, that's not what I wanted. And neat, so that you don't miscount and make a silly mistake. The other application of this same thing that you will see when you're working independently today is you will have them talk about lines, right? Right here. And curves, and potentially both lines and curves inside of numbers and letters. And I'm not sure we've always thought about this, but when you're making an 8 or a B or an M or a Z, let's just take Z for instance. And I probably should have done that in a different color, but I'm going to say line, line, line. Z's are made up entirely of lines only. So I could put a Z right here as being, it's only made out of lines. Same with L's, or capital E's, or N's, right? So they want you to look at these numbers and these letters and decide, are they lines only? Are they curves only? Or are they lines and curves combined? So this 8 has a curve on the top and a curve on the bottom. I'm going to say that an 8, it depends how you draw it, are curves only. I've seen 8s drawn like this. Have you ever seen this? But that's not the 8 they gave us. So that's curves only. Check. I did that one. This 4, where would you put it? Lines only, curves only, or both? Yeah, I would be calling on you right now in my class. It is lines only, right? Lines only. What do you think about the 5? Both. And you could maybe show me where those were, right? You would say, well, the lines are easy to find. They're on the top. And the curves are right there. We would continue through with the rest of these, right? Are there lines? Are there curves? Are there both? You'll be asked to do a little bit of this today independently. And then comes my favorite. I get to be Miss Aiken just a little bit. To be honest, the gym teacher and the art teacher have better jobs than me. I'm a little jealous. I wish sometimes I could paint beautiful pictures with you and run around and play games in the gym, right? So I get to be a little bit of an art teacher right here. We need to draw a picture that has more than 3 lines. And remember, they're going to say parts of lines, but they just mean 3 lines. So you can have other things. You could have lots of lines, but you need at least more than 3. So nice straight lines when you're doing this. I think I'm going to draw a house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, curve, 20, watch this, curve, 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 curve. So I have lots of parts of lines, and Miss Aiken would be proud of my drawing. So in math, you're going to have to recognize lines and curves and do some of these same things independently. Last thing I'm going to do, friends, is I'm going to show you the actual work in your workbook and explain that I'm going to be assigning these same things in Seesaw if that's your preference. So here, you're going to have to, in an organized fashion, count the lines and curves in these drawings. Some of these are rather complex, so I would zoom in right on the iPad and make those L's and C's. Don't get lost in some of the details. So this is an interesting page. What this page is asking you to do is organize these shapes into one of 2 categories. They're either made up of 2 curves and 2 lines mixed, or they're made up of 1 curve and 3 lines. That's every shape on this board. Either has 2 and 2 or 1 and 3. So why don't we do this? Why don't we say if it has 2 and 2, we color it blue. If it has 1 and 3, I don't care what you color. Oh, don't do blue. That's the one you can't do, Mr. W. Okay, fine. Okay, so if it's 2 and 2, color it blue. If it's 1 and 3, color it yellow. So if I look here, this is definitely, if I look at it, 1 curve and 3, color it yellow. Whereas this one, if I look at this next one, it has 2 lines and 2 curves. Color it blue. So you're really just looking for lines, looking for curves, and then sorting them by coloring them one of 2 ways. And then let me show you if there is, the fun stuff. Art. You get to draw me some things that have 5 lines 8 curves, and a mixture of lines and curves. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.